It's not the first political lobbying scandal in British history, but it most certainly involves two of the most prominent politicians in recent times. Both are former Foreign Secretaries. Jack Straw and Sir Malcolm Rifkind are accused of being involved in a cash for access scandal. They deny any wrongdoings and today referred themselves to a parliamentary committee to investigate the allegations. The lobbying scandal came to the limelight after a joint investigation by the Telegraph newspaper and Channel 4's documentary programme known as Dispatches. Undercover reporters pretended to work for a private Chinese firm, filmed the two MPs using their political positions to benefit the company, in return for thousands of pounds.
I'm well aware of the fact I give my name, all right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, I get that. But it's what it is you want from me, what I can offer you, and could do for you. What's the time commitment? No, obviously, there's if we get down the track, there's the issue of what fee you had in mind.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it'd be good to, I don't know if you have a kind of daily rate in mind.
I mean, normally, if I'm doing a speech or something, it's £5,000 a day. That's what I charge.
Yeah.
Sir Malcolm Rifkind also claimed he is self-employed despite earning an MP's salary.
I'm surprised how much free time I have. I spend a lot of time reading, I spend a lot of time walking, because I'm not a minister or full-time working for one person, I can sort out my day. I'm self-employed, so nobody pays me a salary. I have to earn my income, but when I'm not doing something, I can do what I like.
This has raised question as to whether they should be allowed to work on outside commercial interest. Opposition Labour leader Ed Miliband clearly thinks they shouldn't. He sent a letter to British Prime Minister David Cameron this morning, calling for a ban on MPs having paid consultancies outside their jobs, saying British people need to know that when they vote, they are electing someone who will represent them directly and not be swayed by what they may owe to the interest of others. As a Labour MP, Straw is now standing down from the party's candidacy in general elections, but is insisting he had fallen into a very skillful trap. Rifkind, who is chairman of the highly influential Intelligence and Security Select Committee, has also been suspended by the Conservative Party. He said the allegations were completely unfounded and vowed to fight them all the way.
No, I wasn't embarrassed by them. I was annoyed. I was very angry because when your reputation's being attacked, that's something you hold dear to. And I've been in public life for a long time. I know what is permitted, what is proper, and that's what I stick to.
It's now up to the parliamentary watchdog to decide where to go on from here. But whatever the outcome, there is no doubt that ahead of May's crucial general elections, the reputation of UK's politics is further damaged, giving a boost to anti-politics sentiments.
Now joining us to discuss this further is Scottish activist Jonathon Shafi. Now, what implications will this latest scandal have on the British electorate, especially with the general elections nearing?
Well, I mean, this is how British politics is done. It is done by a layer of very powerful individuals at the very top of society who support and perpetuate the interests of the super rich. And people in the UK know this very well now. And I think that what this latest scandal represents is not just something which people will talk about in their workplaces and in their homes today, but will be seen as just another example to a trend. This is an institutional, systematic and organised and integrated approach to establishment politics, and that's the way that they prefer politics to work, not just in Britain, but in most of the advanced neoliberal economies. The corporations, the super rich and so on, they rule the roost.
Now, we know that they've done nothing wrong in offering their services, but boasting about their level of access, what does this mean in regards to national security?
Well, I mean, we say that they've not done anything wrong, but the reality of the situation is that these are people who are elected by taxpayers, by people who have an interest in how the country is run, and there has to be a question raised about whose interests are actually being served. And when it comes to the question of security, we might also want to talk about the insecurity of living in Britain in 2015. And when I say insecurity, I mean the lack of access to jobs, the lack of access for hundreds of thousands of people now to food. People are relating both the greatly unequal nature of British society with the greatly unequal nature of how power is distributed and how political decisions are made. So this is another example of, I think, the long decline of the British establishment, and I think people have had enough.
Well, you've mentioned some very pertinent points there that will be affecting a lot of people and be a consideration in regards to who they vote for in the elections. Now, this scandal has come about. We don't know who's motivated it, but is it just spins to just to distract us from the aim of the actual Parliament at the moment?
Well, I think that what these things highlight is quite important, because often what you'll see is you'll see scandals emerging. If you remember, we had the MPs' expenses scandal not so long ago. And people, I think, are wrong to analyse these scandals in isolation from one another. And therefore, I'm just going to repeat that this is part of a pattern, more than the way the society in Britain is currently organised, that you have access if you have money. And if you have money, you have a better chance of making your political views represented in the institutions of power. And that's why democracy in the UK and democracy in the British state is under such fierce questioning by the electorate right across the UK.
Activist Jonathon Shafi, thank you very much for joining us today.